The increase in the fruit and vegetable benefit has been so amazing. We've always been telling people to eat fruits and vegetables, and it used to be more of a token amount, I think, on people's benefits. And now it's a real amount of money that you can do something with. Add in the inflation that's happening around the country, and families are just very grateful.
Thank you. Say hello, Nalani.
My name is Nicole Imperial. I am located in Phoenix, Arizona. So this is my youngest. This is Hector Imperial. And then I have his older sister. Her name is Nalani Imperial. She loves fruits, and we get right now, it's like $69 or something. That's a huge help. And she likes grapes and strawberries, and she eats a good amount every day. And that's great nutrition for her.
In the past, you would probably have to spend your entire WIC allowance to buy a bag of grapes.
At first, it was a little rough. I'm like, not that I wasn't thankful, but I'm like, $11, okay, what are we gonna get here? And then now it's like, yeah, I think it was like 71 or 69, and I'm like, whoa, all right, especially because of inflation.
Yeah.
The other great thing about the fruit and vegetable increase is it's allowed our participants to kind of experiment more with different fruits and vegetables. It's because a lot of times parents are really quick to peg kids as picky eater. But often it can take up to 10 instructions or more for a child to learn to like a certain type of food.
The benefits have helped my daughter Nalani not be a picky eater because it's like more of a range of what we can give her.
Is that yummy, Mama?
She likes strawberries, blueberries, carrots, banana, broccoli, stuff that you wouldn't think a kid would like.
Just yesterday, I was talking to a mom, and she had, $50 on her benefits that month for fruits and vegetables. And she said, we hands down are eating more fruits and vegetables now. I mean, what else do you need to hear?
It's a blessing to see them thriving, and knowing that I do have that help and resources to make sure that they can thrive. That makes me feel like a good mom,
Yeah, Mama.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Dr. Jamila Taylor, President and CEO of the National WIC Association. The Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, known as WIC, is the nation's premier public health nutrition program, delivering a targeted nutrition intervention at critical periods of growth and development. Through healthy foods and quality nutrition services, WIC works to build higher quality eating patterns and set the stage for a healthier next generation. One of the greatest improvements to WIC in recent years has been an expansion of fruit and vegetable benefits. Before, WIC provided only $9 per month for children and $11 per month for women. Since October of 2021, Congress has worked on a bipartisan basis to ensure that fruit and vegetable benefits are aligned with the 50% of recommended intake under the dietary guidelines for Americans. Now, children receive $25 per month, and women receive $44 to $49 per month, depending on breastfeeding status. Enhanced fruit and vegetable benefits led to quick results. Within a few months of increased access, WIC children reported higher rates of fruit and vegetable consumption. In fact, a spring 22 study by the National WIC Association and the Nutrition Policy Institute measured a 1/4 per cup increase in fruit and vegetable consumption for WIC-enrolled toddlers, helping young children get closer to federal recommendations. Increasing WIC participants' access to fruit and vegetables also enhances WIC's role in supporting the broader food supply chain by driving more transactions to retail grocery stores, expanding markets for farmers and farmers markets, and returning federal investment back to producers and growers here in the United States. The increase to the WIC benefit is a win-win for families and farmers, but the recent debt ceiling agreement will cap federal spending for the next 2 years, and recent proposals suggest that WIC benefits could be on the chopping block. This is an unacceptable outcome for more than 5 million toddlers, new moms, and pregnant women who are relying on the fruit and vegetables provided by WIC to secure a healthy start. As Congress is considering where its priorities and values rest, please join me in welcoming some mothers who could be very well impacted by these funding decisions in the coming weeks. Joining us today are moms from across the country who are here to share their experiences with WIC. Before we dive into our discussion, I'd like to introduce them. We have Sarah Manazar from Brooklyn, New York, Samantha Thompson from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Yesenia Vargas from Visalia, California. Welcome. So I'd like to start with Sarah first. As I mentioned earlier, WIC used to only provide $9 per month for children and $11 per month for women for fruits and vegetables. Sarah, as someone who has participated in WIC even before the increase, how has your experience with that benefit prior to the increase?
Hi, thank you so much. It's great to be here. First, I have a question for the audience to respond to that is, could you feed your kids on $9 a month of fruits and vegetables? Probably not. Obviously, any amount is helpful, right? Any amount is helpful, any amount is appreciated, but it is a very, very small benefit, especially for babies and kids. You know, there's only limited time to give our babies and kids these nutritional options to give them a healthy start. And the prices are going up. You know, fruits and veggies are getting way more expensive. I mean, I see a carton of strawberries for $8 at my local supermarket. So, you know, this previous benefit only covered a tiny amount of what families really need.
Wow. Thank you for that. And Yesenia, I'd like to go to you next. As a former participant yourself, and now working as an integral part of the WIC workforce, could you share your experience during pregnancy and the postpartum period with WIC's cash value benefit?
So when I was receiving WIC, I got the $11. It was a good amount, but it wasn't a lot. I was able to buy some bananas, watermelon. I'd be good for about a week, and that was it. It did help, but it wasn't enough. I made better choices with WIC because of the education they gave me and the fruits and vegetables. And I was able to implement that into my diet, but I wish I had more.
Mm-hmm. And when you experienced those challenges, both for yourself and your family, you know, what did you do to try to fill those gaps in terms of your nutritional needs?
So we didn't. We live in a very low income place here in Visalia. It's very rural, and we when we go grocery shopping, we usually get what we need, and it's that extra help that it gave. I was able to buy what I normally wouldn't be able to buy, but I was, you know, without it, I didn't get the fruits and vegetables, so it was a good help, but it wasn't enough, you know.
Thank you, Yesenia. Samantha, I'd like to go over to you. You know, we know that how important variety is for children's nutritional intake, and you know, WIC is such an essential piece of that, making sure that children get the nutrients that they need. You know, why has the fruit and veggie CVB that WIC provides been so meaningful for your family?
It has been very helpful in always providing fruits and veggies to have on hand for quick, easy, healthy snacks that we can just grab. It has allowed me to buy a variety of fruits and vegetables for my son to try. Some of his favorite fruits are ones that I wouldn't normally buy for myself, like raspberries or bananas. I've bought him things that I wasn't sure if he would like cherry tomatoes. And I feel okay doing that with the larger amount in the cash value benefit because it's not going to necessarily go to waste in 1 week. What else? I think that was all I had. Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you so much. And this question will go to everyone on our panel for today. You know, why has WIC been such a critical resource to you? You know, we're talking today about what these cuts could mean for families in the program. And so it's important for policymakers and advocates to hear about, you know, how WIC is such a critical resource to families. You know, this isn't just about dollars and cents for our communities. It's really about you know, ensuring a healthy well-being and a healthy start for your family. So how has it been a critical resource? Why don't we start with Yesenia?
Okay, so I do have a 2-year-old and she is still receiving WIC. She gets $25 in benefits right now. And that taking that away, oh my goodness. We've been able to try dragon fruit. It's like a luxury fruit. We've never tried it before, you know. We're able to, with that actually does last a bit longer. It's good for the month. We're able to buy our tomatoes, we're able to buy our onions, you know, for just our basic meals. And taking that away, going back to like the $9, it lasts about a week. So let's try to keep that. Let's try to keep those $25 so we can keep giving them like bananas so we could make our milkshakes in the morning, you know, for our children, and our strawberries because we don't usually buy them, just for a snack, you know.
Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, it was such a huge relief to see the amount go up. You know, when we got that extra boost, it was huge. It was like a giant sigh of relief, you know. It actually lasts multiple shopping trips. So to know, okay, I can go to the supermarket and not have to worry about those extra costs being tacked on. I think everyone who has a toddler knows how much fruit toddlers eat. They're like fruit eating machines. They can just endlessly eat fruit. So just to have that peace of mind that there's just a little bit of extra help making ends meet, it's huge, just in terms of, obviously in terms of nutrition, but also just mental support and knowing that that support is there. And I also wanted to say that, you know, it's not just the fruit and veggie benefit is huge, but it's also just having other means of support, like the breastfeeding support, which was really helpful to me with my first baby when I had no idea what I was doing. And just knowing that if you have any questions, you can ask for referrals, for resources, and just having that as a big part of the community is super, super important.
Thank you. And I think also too, just another thing that pops up into my mind as you all are talking is, you know, how critical access to, you know, the nutritional supports that are a part of WIC as a whole, like ensuring that our children have a healthy start, right? And so it's one thing to be able to access these yummy fruits and vegetables, but also making sure that children can go to school and learn in the most optimal way. And part of that is ensuring that they have access to nutritious foods. Samantha, anything you'd like to add in terms of this question?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of piggyback off of Sarah as well. My son has eaten 2 cartons of strawberries in 2 days. So there goes a big chunk of that cash value benefit. And then next week he'll be on to another fruit as his favorite. So having a little extra for when the tastes change is very helpful. And even outside of just the cash value benefit, the breastfeeding support was helpful for me as well. I don't know where I would have gotten support from if I wasn't with WIC. I don't know those resources in my community. So WIC really helped when I was struggling with breastfeeding.
Absolutely. Another thing that, we know could come out of any funding shortfalls for WIC is that we could see waiting lists for the first time in decades. And so just wanted to get a sense from you all, is that something that you're also worried about, not only for yourselves, but other families that that may be benefiting from the program?
I mean, that would be a huge bit. There's already so many barriers to accessing WIC, and so many people don't even know WIC exists. A lot of people who are eligible aren't even signed up, right? So just add one more barrier, the fact that you have to wait to see someone, to talk to someone when you're pregnant. There's already so much stress when you're pregnant, and it's just adding another thing you have to do on your checklist. I think that would be really terrible.
Question that I wanted to go to for the group is, what would the impact be on your family, and community? And this sort of like piggybacks off of, or veggybacks off of my last question. If WIC were no longer able to provide services to all eligible families?
I think the people who need it most in my community, WIC might not have the resources to do reach out, and they wouldn't know that they are eligible for WIC, and the people that need it most may not be receiving these benefits. And that would just another hurdle for kids to jump over that they shouldn't have to.
Sarah or Yesenia, any comments to this question?
Yeah, I mean, there's already just so many challenges around the, when we're pregnant and postpartum. I mean, people are literally dying after having babies because there's not enough support, because no one's checking on them, because your first appointment is 6 weeks for most people. And WIC is one of those connections that you have. So just reduced ways of connecting with help, reduced connections to support, any kind of support, and not having those health services. It's like that extra, it's like a safety net. If your provider misses something, which they probably will a lot of the time, it's that extra safety net for us. So it would just be devastating, I think, if it was harder to access.
Right. And we know that in addition to, the nutritional supports provided by WIC, we know that a lot of times, WIC staff are also connecting families with other essential services that they need. So if we think about this, from a bigger picture perspective, families could be missing out on getting the linkages to other supports, whether it's housing, transportation, maternal mental health care. So it really is even bigger than WIC if we sort of look at all of the supports that the WIC workforce is providing for families. And so, Yesenia, that brings me to you. You've been a WIC participant and you work in WIC. And so just wanted to know if you have a perspective on this, both for your own family in terms of the impact, but also, from your clients' perspective, participants that you may be seeing in the clinic or either communicating with online.
Yes. So I was fortunate enough that I had a good support system right after I gave birth, but it's not the case with everybody. And I will get a lot of phone calls. And people do want resources, and I'm able to provide these resources. I'm able to give them a number so they can call that number, or we're also very we can give advice. Well, no, not me per se, but we give that support that a lot of mothers need. Sometimes it can be with car seats, or it could be there's a program for diapers, and we can help with these things. And there was a lot of stuff when I was a WIC participant that I didn't know of. And now actually working here, I know about all the resources we can provide.
Great. And so, again, we've talked a lot about, if the fruit and vegetable benefits are significantly cut, what would this impact be on nutrition, right? I mean, you've talked about, again, how your kids love the fruits and vegetables and other benefits, but what do you think will be the ongoing impacts, not just for your children, but if we think about it in the broader context of generations down the line?
I think that reducing the cash value benefit would make fruits and veggies not the automatic first choice for a snacker, to add that into your meals as a little extra nutrition. And that could go on for generations where, oh, this other less healthy thing is cheaper, so I'm going to buy this instead of fruits and vegetables. And you just build those habits of unhealthy eating. And yeah.
And I can just speak from my 4-year-old, but she will not eat anything healthy except fruits. And like once in a while veggies, but like it's always mac and cheese, boxed mac and cheese, pasta. So this is really, it's her main source of nutrition. Once in a while I can get her to eat some chicken. So it's really real. I mean, I think, and that's true of a lot of little kids, right? So I think it really is going to have a massive impact on possibly millions of families, their kids not eating healthy.
Right. And how does that potential outcome, make you feel, about your own situations? Are you, or even just hope for the future, right? I mean, another thing that we've been talking about in the context of these funding shortfalls is that we're also seeing, an unwinding of, the enhanced benefits under the SNAP program, for example. And we know that many families who are participating in WIC may also be participating in SNAP. The WIC community is also coming out of the shadows of the infant formula crisis. And so it's really an unnerving time, for us to be thinking about all of these challenges, both for families as well as the WIC workforce. Yesenia, back to you. I mean, this also leads to stress, on those of you that are helping to make sure that families have what they need. And so, how are you feeling? Are you feeling less hopeful, considering the conversation we're having about these benefits and the availability? Or are you still hopeful that, we'll come through and see, that these benefits will be maintained, at the current levels, and families will have what they need? Anyone want to jump in?
I think with the rising cost of pretty much everything and the potential of benefits being reduced, it really affects my decision. I only have one kid right now. I do want another one, but all of that affects if I really do want to have another child. If cost of everything is going up and my benefits are being reduced, I'm less likely to have another kid, and I really want one.
Any other thoughts? Hopeful?
It's
scared?
also the feeling that, feeling helpless. We need to raise our voices and say this is not acceptable as parents. Just knowing that we have so many elected officials and so many people in Congress that don't care about families, and they really care about profit over people. And the fact that they're willing to literally willing to let babies and toddlers go hungry because they don't care. It's really disturbing. So I think that just, we need to do everything we can to make sure that these cuts don't happen.
And do you all get the sense too, like, I mean, Sarah, you mentioned earlier, food costs continuing to rise, inflation, some of these broader issues that we're seeing on the economy, and they definitely also have an impact on WIC and, how you're able to use your benefits in the first place. And so can you share a little bit, or any of you, share more about, how you've even been working to fill the gaps, considering, the higher food costs, having to stretch out your benefits. And, obviously, if you go down to, a couple of dollars per month, what that's going to mean and translate for the food that you're able to put on the table. Yesenia, why don't we hear from you?
Yeah. Well, if it would go back down for, we would definitely not be buying any more dragon fruit. We would probably just stick to like tomatoes and bananas, and just they like apples. So that's basically what we would go back to, just those three things. The $25 really does help. We're able to try different fruits that we wouldn't get. We can get our veggies, our carrots for our soups and everything. We would definitely not be making a lot of the meals that we make right now if it were to go down.
Samantha, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree with Yesenia. The meals I make would probably change. I can, with the cash value benefit going towards fruits and veggies, I can afford to get a little better food for the meals. If that were to go away, it'd probably be a lot more rice, pasta, less healthy things.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely absurd to see the food prices. I mean, it's like sticker shock. Like, you just read I'm like, $7.99 for strawberries or blueberries, and this is a huge chunk of change just for like the bare necessities. And let's not even get into eggs. So like, it is inflation, but it's also, there's some price gouging going on.
And I can't imagine, right? I'm in the Midwest and you two are on the coast, where I'm sure everything is even more expensive for you than it is for me. And so your $25 does not equal my $25.
And I mean, just knowing, okay, I don't have to worry about those like $11 for eggs, right? Because of WIC, it's huge.
Yeah, and you also tend to see the price gouging happen more in low income communities. And, I don't think we talk enough about that. If you go into more privileged communities, they actually tend to have better pricing on essential items like food, as well as like any sort of the pharmacy needs and so forth and so on. They tend to be cheaper in more privileged communities, which is also a travesty to add to the list of things that we're talking about today. So back to, the conversation about healthy foods, I wanted to ask you all why it's so important for you as a provider, I guess this is going to Yesenia, to ensure that your family and kids have access to healthy foods. What does it mean to you to be able to provide those resources as a parent?
Oh, it means everything. Of course, we want to give them the best. We want to give them the best choices there is. They're growing. If we incorporate the most fruits and vegetables possible right now, they'll take that with them as adults, and they'll show their children the same thing. So, yeah, we want to keep this these $25. We want to instill this healthy lifestyle choice for them, so they can take it to next generations to come.
Right. That's such an important point. When we give them a healthy start, particularly starting them young, teaching them, what a healthy plate looks like, it is something that they take along, as they get older, to future generations, to when they have children, they'll be able to pass those principles along to them. So this really is important from a multi-generational perspective. So thank you so much, Yesenia. Anyone else have a response to that question? Just thinking about, again, ensuring that, your family and kids have access to healthy foods. What does it mean for you to be able to provide those resources as a parent?
So in my house, it's like a disaster when we run out of blueberries. Like there's going to be a tantrum. It actually happened last night.
Yep.
And it's great when, they ask for healthy food, because usually it's, I want ice cream. I want, and when they're actually asking for fruit, I want strawberries, I want blueberries. It's great. But then it's like, what if you don't have it? Then you have to say, oh my God, we have to go buy more. And then it's a whole thing. So just being able to, keep your fridge stocked is a huge relief.
I agree. I want to teach my son that a fruit or a vegetable can be a first choice. I didn't grow up that way, that fruits and vegetables were my first choice for a snack. I wanted chips and cookies and all of that. So I want him to automatically gravitate towards those healthy snacks and teach his children that as well.
In times where, or just thinking about what we could see coming out of these negotiations, in terms of the shortfalls, could you all envision, it being stressful for you, as parents, and making sure that you can provide for your families, what this is going to mean for your stress levels on top of, being a mom, working, all of the other things that we need to do as providers, is that something that you're also worried about? I don't think we talk enough about, how these situations are stressful for moms. And, we typically don't have the resources and supports that we need in order to support our mental health. And so I think it's important to also put that into context in terms of the health and well-being of moms in these tough situations.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because, being pregnant was one of the most stressful times in my life, hands down. Like it was just so much instability. And being able to sign up for WIC and Medicaid was like a game changer. It reduced the stress so much. And it is really hard for us, for working parents. I'm exhausted. It's exhausting physically and emotionally, right? So this is just a little bit of helping us feel less stressed and less alone.
And were any of you also impacted by, the infant formula shortage? That was about a year.
Was on the tail end of it. So Indiana uses Gerber, and there was just none in the stores. And I use sensitive, so there was double none in the stores. And so I had to buy something I wouldn't normally buy. It was very difficult going store to store when I too am a working mom and I don't have the time to be doing that. And it's just another thing on your mind. How am I going to get formula for my son? That's the only thing he needs right now as a baby. And yeah, it was very difficult.
So I didn't go through the formula shortage. I breastfed, but my sister did. And I remember calling every store trying to get some formula for my niece. We drove around to the nearby cities trying to find this formula. We could not find it. And WIC they allowed us to substitute. If the formula we were getting, it wasn't in stock, they would allow us to substitute. I was calling every single store for my sister. I saw her struggle with it, but I was lucky enough that I didn't.
Right. And so go ahead, Sarah.
Oh yeah, I was going to comment similarly that I was lucky enough I'm also I was trained as a lactation counselor. So I was able for my second baby to have a lot of support and knowledge to be able to breastfeed exclusively, but my community, I mean, we were out there like posting on every Facebook group who has extra formula. I was like running around to different people, getting the extra formula, dropping it off at this person's house who needs it. It was like our mutual aid group was like in crisis mode. And we were able to do a lot of formula redistribution in our neighborhood. But just the fact that we had to do that was atrocious. The fact that it came to this grassroots effort to try to get people formula because, the government failed and the corporations didn't care. Again, similar theme, right? So it was chaos.
Yeah. And I thought it was important to sort of put that out there too, again, because the same community was just grappling with that months ago. And now, we have these impending, benefits cuts to, the WIC program. And so, having to deal with both of those things back to back is really going to be heart-wrenching for WIC families. So Samantha, wanted to go back to you. How does it feel to have just come out of the stress of the formula crisis, which you just talked about, and then also having to, contend with the possibility of having, the fruit and vegetable benefits slashed as part of the WIC program?
Yeah, so the mental part, I think, may be difficult. Stretching that $9 to a whole month doesn't seem realistic. And just having to really think about, okay, what's the best stuff that I can buy with this $9 that would be best for my son, that he will like and eat, and it won't go to waste. That's just another thing to think about on top of everything else that moms have to think about.
Right. If you think about it, if we're talking $9, that might be what, a pint of strawberries and a pint of blueberries. Let's just, for example. And there's no way, as we talked about how hungry, our kids are and how much they love fruits and vegetables, that could, that will last you a day, maybe if you try to stretch it out. So that is terrible.
I don't want to be telling my son, no, you can't have any more strawberries because we have to have some tomorrow.
Yeah, you have to ration. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But even if you ration, there's no way to do that for the whole month. It'll just be a couple of days, if that. Okay. So wanted to ask each of you, if you could tell Congress why the fruit and vegetable benefit is critical to supporting families, what would you say? Why don't we start with Yesenia and then we'll go around.
It is crucial. It's helping us make better choices. If we go back to the $9, we're not gonna be making the healthier choices because we are gonna go to cheaper things. And sometimes it's not in the budget. Okay, my financial budget. I can't go buy grapes all the time for my kids. Grapes are pretty expensive over here. It would make a huge difference if we keep this cash value benefit to $25. It would make it actually last the whole month. These $25, those $9 lasted about a week. So it would be awesome if we could keep this. It would make my children, for sure, they would definitely take this to their children. Having those vegetables, my kids do love carrots. Having those vegetables, our morning milkshake, it makes a huge difference. We would not be able to do this stuff without those $25.
Thank you, Yesenia. Sarah?
I'm going to take your idea of morning milkshakes to my kids because that is so smart. Calling like it's a smoothie, but it's really calling it a milkshake, so they'll take it. I love it. I would tell Congress, do not take away our fruits and veggies, please. You're supposed to care about us, care about the people who elected you. And it's really heartless, to be honest, that Congress would consider literally letting babies go hungry. I mean, I can't imagine anything worse than letting babies go hungry. Besides maybe letting pregnant people and breastfeeding people go hungry. by the way, when you're breastfeeding, you're super extra hungry because it takes extra energy and resources out of your body. So I would say, Congress, don't let us go hungry. This is absolutely essential for us, not only in terms of nutrition and feeding our kids, but also just in being able to make ends meet and make it month to month, and to have that sense of stability and security. Yeah. So please help us feed our kids.
Thank you, Sarah. Samantha?
I would tell Congress that with the rising cost of everything, inflation, all of that, cutting nutrition benefits seems absurd and the last thing that you should be considering.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all so much for being here. You know, this has been a highlight of my week, getting the opportunity to hear from you all and listen to you talk about, you know, not only the challenges that could come out of the cuts to these benefits, but also just how you've been able to support your children as strong, healthy, vibrant mothers, you know, who have been able to benefit from the WIC program. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate your time here today. And I also want to take time to thank you all for participating. Reach out to your representatives. You've heard everything you need to hear today about what these cuts could mean for WIC families across the country. Please make your voices heard and tell your members that we need full funding for WIC and we need it now. You can access the QR code at the bottom of your screen for more information. Thank you.